And at the top right, we've got our red Protoss player from Team Liquid. It is the captain himself, Harstem.
Apparently, Raynor just posted on Instagram for the first time in a while. It's just a picture of him.
Instagram gives you so many notifications. I don't even use Instagram, and I get so many bloody notifications.
This is just Raynor wearing Gucci clothes, standing on like a incredible Italian sun, right? Like, oh. that kid, right, PvP. So, Harstem is doing it. This has become something that people have started to do in PvP, and Estrella was the first one I saw doing it a lot. It's so risky, man. SKillous is going to go in and immediately scout this, which is, first of all, the most important thing. Now, what SKillous is going to do, probably, is drop a pylon somewhere relatively close. Is he?
I mean, if you scout it, can't you just 4-gate?
Yep. Or like proxy Stargate.
Like Golden Wall, right? Where you can, like, mine out the back minerals and try to take the back Nexus if you're, like... But then not really Nexus first, I guess. But, like, I don't know. I just,
yeah. So
risky. It's so risky.
Yeah, some people have been doing 1-gate expand in PvP, and I don't hate that, especially on Eternal Empire. The very large maps. Ice Chrome is a decent-sized map, but it's not massive, you know? Now, what SKillous is going to do here is most likely go for the earliest possible Stargate. He will get that before Warp Gate begins. You can see he is chunking up that gas. He will immediately throw down that Stargate, start up 2 Adepts at the exact same time, and this works out very, very nice in terms of timing. Now, this isn't Proxy Void Raid, Stefan. And why do I know that? Because I'm clever. Because usually if you go Proxy Void, you need to have batteries. And, I mean, you can just save yourself a pylon, right? Now, this is getting scouted. Very nice here from Harstem to figure out what he is playing against. It's very important, of course. And what Harstem needs to do is immediately... Wow, you went Nexus first into double gateway. That's weird. I don't hate it, though.
I don't know, man. Like... Generally, you really want 3 Stalkers per mineral line against Oracles to be able to mitigate the damage. He's not going to have those. That's not going to be a number that he has. And also, we have these 2 Adepts coming across from Skillous, which are going to be supplementing it quite well. There's not an Oracle coming. There's a Void Ray.
Yeah, okay. So, I think he's established that double Stalker production is on the way. And he can't win the straight-up fight to support his Stargate and his forward pylon with just double Adapt. Double Adapt, of course, does lose 1v1 or 2v2 to double Stalker, but it can force the repositioning here. Harstem does get... That's not a complete wall. Okay. Harstem. He is going to be able to stop that forward pylon from going up, which is nice. But now Void Ray 1 is here. Void Ray 2 is on the way. And we see the pylon. This is the prime position. Now, I kind of would have liked it if Skillous had just dropped his Stargate here originally. I think with Nexus first, you can be that ballsy. As long as you bring a couple of units across as soon as possible. But, I mean, this is already getting established now. Skillous's positioning is pretty cool. He wants to concentrate more on the natural, I believe, and use his dead space between the natural and the proxy. For his Void Rays.
The ability, when the second Void Ray joins up, you can
just kill him.
Honestly, I mean, the two shield batteries there for Harstem are nice, but you really want to start draining the energy from those as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Now, lots of warpins.
Going for the Stargate here. This is
risky.
It is very, very risky.
He's going to lose his main.
But it's opening up.
Oh, the Adepts!
Yeah, the Adepts get in.
This was so bad.
And all of a sudden, while this does mean that the Void Ray this is a lot of damage coming down in Harstem's main. The Adepts getting workers, the Void Rays now beginning to chase down a couple of Stalkers that are still around, deciding not to commit, instead wanting to stay closer to that safety area. But now, 3 gateways at home, he's powering Stalkers as Skillous.
Yeah, now there is a lot of Stalkers here. We're looking at 9 for Harstem, and with the battery support, it's definitely not bad. But Adepts, once again, getting into this mineral line, will find more and more probes. Harstem is still up, actually, in probes by a fairly hefty amount. Of course, having that natural mining very, very well. If the batteries go down, though, this becomes a big, big problem. And one of them is going to get certainly softened. To be fair, all things said and done, Harstem's done a wicked job, despite the risks that he's taken.
Oh, Skillous! Oh, it takes a while to cancel that prismatic alignment. Does get both out alive, though. And now time is really no longer on Skillous' side. He needs to make something happen ASAP. He needs to make some kind of a dive happen, but with only 2 Void Rays and not really that much in the way of anti-armor damage on the ground, just those 4 Stalkers, he's gonna have a lot of trouble actually pushing through this. I don't know if maybe the Adepts are the wrong call, like investing this much in the Adepts. There's also just a lot of money in the bank for SKillous pretty consistently. The shutdown on the Stargate making this so much harder. Looks like he's actually gone all the way up to 4 gates. In a roundabout way, he did end up going for the
4 gate,
earlier. Good by Harstem, good micro as well by SKillous, man.
So many
now, but the Stalker count is just a little bit too high, and Harstem is looking good for this hold.
Yeah, Harstem holding on incredibly. He's still cranking out probes. He's now up to 14 probes. He has over 50% more than his opponent. Now, these batteries going down are pretty vital if SKillous was to make something happen here. And actually, a lot of the Stalkers are pretty beaten up for Harstem. This fight all of a sudden has gone kind of weird because the Stalkers have to concentrate on the main as well. They went into the main mineral line to deal with the threat of the Void Rays. And now, SKillous taking a cost-effective trade for the first time in a long time until he loses this.
Still, though, a relatively even fight here as far as Stalker numbers. Yeah. Void Ray main applying a lot of pressure. Adepts going in once again. SKillous doing a decent job keeping the damage on. The problem is the double next production means that even with the 15, 20 workers that Harstem has lost, he's still up by 13. He really doesn't care, and the Stalker count is just too high now, and this is going to be the end of it. GG is called. Harstem with a solid defense off that Nexus first.
1-0 for Mr. The King, Mr. De Koning here, Kevin
Mr.
De Koning.
I like that.
Mr. The King, yeah.
Harstem picks up. Last name means, right?
Van der Kooi is of the something. Okay.
No, it's from the cage. Tell me that's not the most badass name.
Yeah, that's so badass. I didn't know that.
I'm gonna kept that one a secret because I'm not. It's been a while, but I'm pretty sure that it's from the cage.
That's cool. Very cool. We now move on to Eternal Empire, a nice and big map for our second. Make sure you join. And we will.
Right, yeah, off the cage.
Off the cage. That's the same thing.
He sounds like a wrestler. Sounds like a pro wrestler who does nothing but cage matches. or he's of the cage. So maybe he's like a spiritual leader of the Nicolas Cage cult.
Oh, that's good.
Also could work, you know?
Oh, that's cooler. Maybe.
He's a cult leader. They follow Nick Cage.
If I was to be in any cult, like if I ever wake up just feeling like I feel a bit culty today, I'm gonna join a cult. I am joining the Nicolas Cage cult.
Oh yeah, the Cult of Cage.
The Cult of Cage. Ooh, that's spooky.
Spooky.
In the top right-hand side of Eternal Empire, representing Cascade Esports, he is the blue Pro Tour player from Russia, fighting in the series. It's SKillous.
Facing off against the red Protoss player representing Team Liquid and the Netherlands in the bottom of Eternal Empire. It is Harstem. So far, showing us that in that first game, at least, he was the king of this series.
Yeah. I'm yawning, sorry. Yeah, that was a good win there for Harstem. Now, of course, Harstem is scientifically eliminated. We had a team of doctors working overnight to figure out where the bracket was at. But there is still $125, and the higher you come up in the group, the more you make in prize money as well.
Yeah, and I think SKillous also with that loss does basically
eliminate himself from top 2.
Yeah, eliminate himself from top 2. I think that.
Yeah, it's all a bit confusing.
Here, I want to say, because Gerald sitting at a better map score as he's a mana.
Both of those players, I believe, are currently playing. I know Gerald almost certainly is, and if you can keep us up to date on those scores in chat. Did you see my tweet about Gerald today?
Yes, I did.
He's cute, right?
Gerald's great.
Yeah, he's super. Like his first ever interview, and we get to pick because the A stream like to do 1 interview a day, because otherwise the days are just too long. And I was like, oh, I kind of want Gerald. Or he played. Who did he play? Was it Harstem? Yes, it was. Yesterday. Was it yesterday? Oh god. Yeah. So he played Harstem yesterday, and I wanted the winner of that series, and I kind of was very confident in who it would be. No offense intended, of course. This is nice. I have 2 probes stuck here. SKillous able to trap those 2 out with this pylon and the complete wall. Cybernetics squad does go down at the other side of the map. There we go. The pylon is finally cancelled. The other side of the map, everything standard. 2 gates for both of our players here, Pengi. Right? Yeah. Although Harstem's just generally a little bit later. But his Nexus is down.
He opted for that 1-gate expo here, I think. Or did he go Nexus first again? I don't think so, right?
I wasn't looking. I'm watching the VOD now. Oh, it's 2 minutes.
On your Gerald story.
I forgot it now. My dad's called Gerald.
I once had to play Gerald 19 hours into a 24-hour stream.
That's brutal.
It didn't go well. It was on... oh, what was the name of the map? The map with Amon on it.
Amon. Oh!
You know,
like up in the north side, right? He was in between something. Yeah, I don't remember the name of the map. I'm not very good at remembering things.
Zero something? Oh, man,
it doesn't ring any bell. It doesn't. It's not. Yeah, just Google it. Oracle on the way here for SKillous. It is at home this time. His proxy shenanigans in game 1 did end up biting him, so gonna opt to play very safe. Harstem with no tech just yet. Gonna push back a couple of adepts, and of course get his wall up here. But there are actually probes in the natural that are going to be forced to retreat. A cancellation from SKillous, and Harstem is safe for now. Oracle, though, has now completed, making its way across the map. Gonna get that first probe, but it is immediately revealed. 2 batteries on the way here from Harstem, and Harstem's PvP looking pretty good so far this series.
Year 0.
Year 0.
But yeah, I mean, Harstem's looked really, really great defensively. He's been controlling his units exceptionally well. He's been making the right decisions. This time around, he's going to be suffering a little bit in the way of drone losses, but SKillous...
He went Nexus, right?
I mean, that's actually going to allow him to pick up another work. But still, though, Stalker's well positioned. He's able to ward that away. Despite losing 5 workers this time around, still up by 3. It's a bit of a trend. We saw that in the last game as well.
Yeah, and that's only continuing to grow because he is already producing off of 2 Nexuses. SKillous is only now just beginning that. As you can see, both producing 2 probes at a time. Harstem should maintain 2 or 3 probes lead throughout the rest of at least this early mid-game as things continue as they are and no more damage is done. Forges coming down for both. Quicker here for the Russian, who does begin his +1. And he does have a Robo down as well as a Stargate. Harstem still with no tech at all here, Pengi. Which is kind of a little bit scary at this point. Like, you want to see a Twilight Council or a late Robo. Like, ASAP Stargate would be very, very rare in this scenario.
It's weird, isn't it?
There's no way he's taking a really quick third, right? Oh my god, he is.
Wow. I mean, as Day 9 said, once upon a time, Creighton reminded me of this yesterday. StarCraft 2 is less of an RTS and more of an economy simulator. Harstem really buying into that thought process here, grabbing a third around the same time as he throws down his tech. Finally, a Twilight Council coming on it. Already, though, we have Immortal production well underway for SKillous. He's already got one on the map, second one on the way on out. And he's not behind at all in the timing of the Twilight. He's already got his Twilight coming on down. Keep in mind, he also opened with a Stargate. So SKillous has had plenty of time to make all of the tech paths. And Harstem is just now finishing up his Twilight Council. We'll see if he decides to go for Blink or Charge. I wouldn't be too surprised to see Blink purely just because the fact he doesn't really have much in the way of big, beefy units. And there it is, Blink coming on in. That's going to allow him to give his Stalkers just a little bit more staying power and make them quite a bit more formidable, both offensively and defensively. But already, Twilight Council wasn't enough for SKillous. Templar Archives coming in already. So one player going all in on the economy, and the other players are just getting every single tech structure.
Yeah.
Like money, SKillous is just playing bingo.
I kind of like SKillous's idea to go charge first. It's kind of unusual, even in the later stages. Typically, you do see Blink Stalkers before charge, but I think SKillous wants to try and find at least a little bit of damage. And charge, generally the upgrade, if you want to make a load of Immortals and Sentries, you get some Charge Zealots as well. And you expect, if your opponent has gone for a late tech, they typically go Twilight Council and Blink. And Charge kind of just pretty good against that. But he's not actually producing any Zealots yet. He has none. And Charge is like about to finish. I thought maybe he was just going to like throw down 2 or 3 more gates and get really aggressive with Charge. Doesn't seem to be that way, which
it also
interesting.
could well be a sort of a defensive decision against any kind of really big Blink Stalker plays. Just having the ability to warp in some Charge Lots. Charge Lots do incredibly in those kinds of fights. And just having that ability is nice. Now we finally do see a couple of gateways being added on in for SKillous, who's also almost onto this third base. Definitely suffering a little bit in the economic side of things, but not too far behind. I actually favor SKillous' position a little bit here, not by too much. But nice blink forward there by Harstem as well, picking off that Oracle, going to deny that Revelation going down in the future. And from here, though, just the tech advantage is so massive for SKillous. Just the number of tech units he has in this army. We've got 4 Immortals, 2 Archons, against an army of Blink Stalkers.
Yeah. And Blink is nice if you can use it to its maximum capabilities. In Stalker versus Stalker fights, it's very, very good, of course. If it was just Zealots, then it can be very good. You can blink on top of Immortals, but you can't blink on top of 4 Immortals. And SKillous is just continuing to produce Immortals and Archons. His +2 a little bit quicker here. His army is very, very powerful. His composition just that bit stronger. But Harstem is making the right moves, adding that Robotics Bay. What Harstem needs for now is just to buy himself a little bit of time. He needs to get a couple of Disruptors out. He needs to get his own Robo units going. And that Dark Shrine on the way as sort of expected here. 2 Immortals, though, they do a lot to this stuff.
Yeah. Honestly, the way Harstem is expanding this game reminds me of like a year ago when Zest started or maybe even 2 years now, when Zest started popularizing the mass gateway style PvP, where you just have 5 bases by 6 minutes. Like, that's kind of how it looks, because PvP is not a matchup where you expand quickly at all. No. It's a matchup where generally it's considered quite difficult to get yourself into a good enough position to expand before your opponent. So usually you'll end up expanding around the same time as your opponent for most of the game, unless you get yourself a pretty large advantage. Harstem, though, saying, you know what? I don't really care about your standards, about what's normal. I'm just going to do what I want to do. He's up to 4 bases already. He's going for a little bit of an Archon drop as well.
I like it.
That's kind of cute. That's also not the most common thing in the world. Harstem really playing his own style here today.
Actually, there's one person who does do quite a lot of Archon drops. That's SKillous. I've seen him do it quite a few times. So Harstem's sort of throwing that at him, but SKillous is already beginning his transition. He's getting Stargates, he has a Fleet Bacon, so we get the griddle going, as Creighton would say. Now Harstem looking to find some damage here. A Phoenix is going to see this and be pushed away, but big warping as well. This is a big commitment to the aggression here. Harstem behind this is expanding again.
Well, got a couple deeps. Good lift up on one of them by that Phoenix. The other one is staying alive, but still no. The
cannon,
cannon is the right call there, identifying that the DT was the real threat and not allowing Harstem to really get much done there. A fantastic hold on that push there. Gonna deny this other warping as well. All the Archons go down, everything goes down, and Harstem loses a lot of his army. It's a decent disruptor connection there on the west side with a few Zealots, but still now we have a Mothership coming in, and already preemptive Phoenix is coming in to counter this disruptor play. Harstem going into the Fleet Beacon himself, so the question now is he going to try to tech switch into something like hard sky toss carriers? Because, you know, Phoenixes don't do great against carriers.
No. Yeah, I think that will probably be it, because he +1 air weapons coming in. It could be Tempest, but I think carriers just do way better in this against like the entirety of this army even. I think Tempest did a better decision here, but we'll keep an eye on that as the Fleet Bacon gets its griddle going and gets frying. +1 also starting here for SKillous, and both players look like they're going to go for a pretty hefty transition towards that Sky Toss army. Now, Harstem does have a base above his opponent. He has this base, he has a lot of static defense. He's so many probes. That's an insane amount.
I like it, though. I really like it if you identify that it's going super late. I love getting this huge amount of workers early on, and then you can always throw away 20 or 30 of them when you need the armies to fight later on down the line.
Probes.
Mine out these bases a little bit quicker and just have the bank ready if you need it.
Carrier production beginning for both here. We were correct in at least some assumptions. SKillous going to do a good job of finding this proxy pylon and taking that out. This observer for Harstem's been great. It's really kept track of things and when he can find openings with his prism. And although that prism didn't find phenomenal damage, it's a nice place to have going unscouted. Finally, SKillous will match the base. Shield upgrades coming in from SKillous, very, very essential here. But Harstem's air upgrades are a little bit quicker. If he starts +2, there we go. As I'm talking, well done, Kevin. I'm certainly liking Harstem's transition. He's doing a really good job of it.
I worry a little bit about the number of disruptors he has. They're really nice to supplement an air army in the earlier stages, especially with this large ground army that SKillous has. But I don't know. Honestly, like disruptors, I feel like disruptors aren't incredible against Archons and Immortals. They don't one-shot them with Purification Novas, and obviously they don't shoot up. So
What
Tempest
they-
is now coming in from SKillous. He's opting for a different tech path now in his air units, and Tempests do very well against both disruptors and carriers.
Yeah, I think the disruptors will serve one purpose in that once you have 7, you never stop firing, or it's possible to never stop firing. That means the Archons can never really just walk in on you. Archons are very slow. Usually if it's like Mass Blinkstalker, of course, then the disruptors are kind of difficult. You have to force your opponent to make a mistake. But these disruptors will, if they connect on the Archons, a couple of them still will manage to do the damage. We also have a drop. Oh!
But, look. Why is there an Archon up to the left-hand side? What?
Fighting a mothership. Doing a good job. Took 3/4 of the shields. What a beast.
That's way more damage than
yeah, right? Mothership
I guess the mothership doesn't really have that much damage output itself. Those laser beams look so massive, but it's actually fairly negligible damage.
Updates from chat. Clem did manage to beat Solier 2-0 and cement his position at the very top of the group. Solier had a good run, did manage to get that one upset onto Sol. But the Purification Novas.
Coming on in, only one connection so far, but they do manage to get the second one off. A lot of the Immortals going down, and that might just force SKillous back. He does have this air army, though, moving on forward. Not that much in the way of things that actually kill the Stalkers, funnily enough, though, with a lot of that ground army going down. There's still a decent number of Archons alive, just a singular Immortal. And he's going to try to apply a little bit of pressure to the 6th phase, really. For once, actually applying a little bit of pressure to an expansion. Harstem's been pretty to expand all game, but now finally SKillous saying, you know what, maybe I should contest this a little bit. But with that many carriers coming in and joining the fray, SKillous is going to move back to the high ground and try to cement his own base. And I love this decision as an expansion because he can simultaneously defend his 6 while pressuring the 6th base of Harstem, especially since he's opted to go for Tempest.
And also just having that rich Vespian Geyser in this scenario of the game, it's incredible. It's so good to have a few extra probes that are able to mine minerals because you're getting that double income from those high yield gas. Now that being said, it is going to be cancelled. SKillous is making a pretty conscious effort of denying this gas from being mined, which I definitely like. Now, Harstem looking like he wants to trade out some supply, possibly sending a big run by to the north. And it's very undefended here, Stefan. There's potential that Harstem could find some damage on this base. His carrier count as well, way higher than his opponents. It's 8 carriers to 2. I don't know which number's higher, but I'm pretty sure it's 8.
Yeah, and 8 is generally higher recently, most of the time anyway. The Stalkers, though, finding a lot of damage here at the undefended 12 o'clock base, and as we talked about before, Harstem is the one who has a ton of extra workers. He wouldn't really care too much about losing 17. SKillous, though, does not have that massive worker count. 17 worker losses for SKillous is a
He's still at 84 probes.
Yeah, Harstem's at 84, yeah, but
did he have over 100?
No, SKillous is the one.
Oh yeah, SKillous is the one with the probes.
And a recall comes down on those Stalkers, gonna allow Harstem to be able to ward off of these units. I do love these.
Oh, getting a couple of the Tempests. I mean, these Tempests are so clumped up, and carriers, if they can get into clumped up fights, do so much damage. It's really hard to see what's going on here. The carrier number's still at 8 here for Harstem. Only 2 remaining. The Tempest count falling to just 5. Finally, the first carrier does fall. There's battery overcharge coming in to try and support this army. Archon's finally being able to get underneath Harstem's army here. SKillous doing a good job, but Harstem can fall back to these batteries. All in all, I'd say a pretty even fight. Upgrades are dead even. Let's look at
the mothership going down. I think on both sides, right?
Yeah. Oh my god, resources lost at 200.
Yep, it's very easy resources lost. The big thing there is, of course, while we did see the workers over at the north side, the Nexus is now going to fall to these DPs. So it's straight out of a base for a base. Harstem is going to try to jump back in with Stalkers going after.
Oh, this is good.
The count is just not high enough to contest carriers right now.
No, and you can see the carriers have free reign here for Harstem. They're just standing still, zipping about, killing everything. And now the air army for the blue Protoss has been entirely reset. Tempest count is trying to regrow, but Blinkstalkers have actually been the savior here for Harstem. They've managed to take such great fights. Now it's going to be very hard to push in for any more damage because there is a lot of batteries here. And Zealots, of course, are able to wrap around these Stalkers effectively. It's hard to see what's going on underneath all of this. A failed revelation, actually. It didn't actually hit any. Oh, it hit 2 Zealots, right?
Right now is really an example of this is what happens when you're Harstem and you have 88 workers for most of the game. It seems kind of unimportant when they're staying pretty close in supply, but then you have a massive fight like that, and all of a sudden Harstem has so much more money that he's able to remax in just a matter of a minute or so. SKillous, though, down to just 60 workers, having lost a base, having lost a bunch of workers himself, not able to reproduce those army units quite as quickly, sitting at just 72 army supply. It's enough to hold this high ground with the shield batteries,
but nothing. He can't push forward.
We're already at a position where Harstem is now already rebanking army, rebanking minerals to remake an army again after the next big fight, and he's going to be picking up another base to the north.
Yeah, not only the base, all of those probes maybe could have been taken down here by Harstem, and SKillous cannot afford to be losing workers at this point. This base is almost certainly going to go down, but we have a big fight in the south. It looks like just bases being traded, actually. Harstem maybe is going to contest this. A couple of Purification Novas come out. Goodbye, Archon. But Harstem going to keep pushing forward with his Stalkers. He forces out the Super Battery. That's a big, big cooldown, which now leaves this base in the front possibly vulnerable for Harstem. If he was to just go with 9 carriers into that base with no battery overcharge, I kind of don't hate his odds here.
Yeah, I mean, really, we do have a decent number of Tempests now. That is the... You really want the Tempests to be able to 1- or 2-shot the carriers. That's the main draw of having Tempests. But not really going for Focus Fire there. That first volley not killing anything. But here come a couple of those Purification Novas. And the carriers are beginning their assault. Stalkers blinking in. They are kamikaze Stalkers. Their entire goal is to go out.